Hey everybody, this is Pastor Doug Zirkle from Mission of Grace in Hayden, and I got some more good news for you today. Now, I've been listening to some of these press conferences and reading the newspapers, probably much like you have, and things are really getting bad out there in the sense of the prediction of how many people are going to die of this thing in the next few weeks or whatever. It keeps being called an invisible enemy, and it certainly is. The virus is invisible, but so many of the enemies we face in life are invisible. Unexpected health issues that are troubling can come out of nowhere. Same thing with financial problems or a problem with your child at school or whatnot. I mean, things happen all the time, and we're not always prepared because most things aren't announcing themselves. They are invisible. In 1 Peter 5 6 to 11, it says in verse 6, humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. It's important that we as believers operate with the mindset of humility, just as our leader Jesus Christ did. He wasn't going around blaming people, trying to distinguish this and that from something else. He just spoke the truth, and he spoke it in love. And it wasn't just what he said that mattered, it was the way he lived his life. And that's Christians, that's what we're called to do, to humbly serve, to turn the other cheek, to go the extra mile. That's what it's about. And right now, we're like if you're in a lemon and that lemon gets squeezed, what's in you is what comes out of you. It may not be lemon juice. I don't know. You have to squeeze it and hope it is lemon juice. Whatever's in you, what's going to come out during this time of being squeezed. And Jesus is saying it's our humility that should shine forth. We're under God's mighty hand. We can look at it and say that we're on our own. We're all out there doing what we can do. And of course, people do operate on their own accord. But the truth is, we're under the hand of God. So instead of fighting it and rebelling against it, why don't we just yield and say, God, help us. Help us be the people you called us to be. Help us be humble at heart and do the right thing. And it says he'll lift you up in due time. Due time could be your death. Due time could be happy news of a birth of a baby. There's all kinds of times, but God's always lifting people up. He's never shoving people under. It says, cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Just roll your cares on him. I know we all think different things, and unfortunately, some Christians can be a little bit superstitious at times. But for the most part, most Christians know that they're really rolling over their cares and anxieties onto the faith they have in Jesus Christ. And I encourage you to do that. Don't try to talk yourself out of it. That doesn't mean, by the way, to be irresponsible. Well, I have money problems. I'm going to give it to God and just not worry about it. No, you got to be smart. You got to do your thing. But there's no sense in letting your heart be so aggravated and beaten up by anxiety that you're just defeated before you even get started. God says, I'll help you. Cast your cares on me. Be alert and sober minded, it says in verse 8. We've got to be alert. We need to know what's going on around us. And sometimes it's hard because the enemy, in this particular case, could be more than just the virus. Sometimes we think we're getting the truth and we don't know if we're getting the truth, and then we thought it was this and it becomes that. Hey, we got to be alert, be sound minded. Your enemy, the devil, it says here, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. So true. Evil is always on the go. It never stops. It never gives a break. You want to talk about something that's not prejudice. It will attack anybody. It will destroy anybody. It doesn't care what your gender is, your age, your skin color. It's out to get you. It's just like a lion, just waiting to get who it can get and devour. It says in verse 9, resist him. Stand firm in your faith. It's important that your faith is something that you contribute you to yourself to through commitment, not just the acting, going to church and acting like a Christian or a good person. It's something you really believe in. You're invested in it. You're going to trust God no matter what. It says resist evil by standing firm in your faith. Believers throughout the world are undergoing the same thing. We're all fighting these invisible enemies. And it's important that we fight them in the name of God with faith and trust and humility of heart, that we count on each other, that we push our cares aside and trust Jesus with everything we have. And it says in verse 10, the God of grace, 10, excuse me, it says in verse 10, the God of grace will, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm and steadfast. To him be the power forever and evermore. Listen, guys, there's going to be times when things aren't going our way. The world never promised it. Especially God throughout history has never said it'll be perfect if you trust me. There is suffering in the world. There are hardships and difficulties, but we can overcome. Greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I do want to say this. I've had some people ask about their tithes and offering. How do they keep giving to the church? We're just a little church, but our address is Mission of Grace, P.O. Box 691, Hayden, Colorado 81639. And if you feel like you're supposed to give, or at least you guys that give your tithes and offerings and all that, send it in when you can. Thank you. God bless you and have a great day.